suppose I should wear somber black tomorrow. After all, it is sort of a funeral, isn't it?
I don't think you want this divorce, really, do you?
Does anybody, really? It's an admission of defeat. But this one has got to be. If only Tony doesn't make that inevitable scene in the courtroom.
I don't think he'll even show up. Now, you better get to bed. It's late.
All right. Thanks for dinner, Counselor.
See you in the morning.
Tony.
What happened?
I was waiting. When I came in holding a gun, he said he was going to kill himself and make it look as if I'd murdered him.
This was the morning when Whitney Coleman was to have appeared in court to ask for a divorce. A bullet had made her a widow instead. And what had started out as a civil action now involved the police.
Our final separation came about a month ago. I did everything but put his bags in the hall.
You hadn't seen him again until last night?
No. He did phone me several times afterwards, making threats until I finally had to get an unlisted number.
What sort of threats, Mrs. Coleman?
Oh, that he'd never let me get a divorce, that he'd kill me, that kind of incoherent thing. I didn't take him seriously. Tony specialized in histrionics.
You said the gun belonged to your husband. Now, if you didn't take his threats seriously, why did you have it here? Loaded.
I didn't know that it was here. Apparently, Tony forgot it when he moved out, or he brought it with him.
Can't we postpone this till Whitney's had some rest? Herb, I'm almost finished. Miss Coleman, what were your grounds for a divorce?
Tony was involved with other women from the first day of their marriage.
There's a Miss Daniels out here, Lieutenant.
She's my sister. She lives with me.
Bring her in.
Hello, Herb.
Allie?
What's happened?
Lieutenant Weston, Miss Daniels.
How do you do?
Whitney? What's wrong?
Tony broke in. He killed himself.
Alas, the poor lover is dead.
Well, I suppose you're happy now. At least there won't be any more other women.
You see what he's done, Herb? It continues even after his death.
Ellie, for heaven's sake.
I know. I'm making a scene. That's something Tony taught me. If you don't assert yourself around here, you end up on the defensive. It's the alternative to suicide.
Ellie, where's your gratitude? Fate has saved you the onerous chore of having to be Wit's corroborating witness. Rejoice. Ellie seems to have forgotten the little social amenities in her terrible grief. I'm Miles Turner. Mr. Turner?
Miles, this is Herb Maris and Lieutenant Weston. Miles is a friend of Ellie's.
How wonderfully ironic. Tony always inferred that before the Stygian night embraced him, that he'd leave his mark on the world.
And you thought Tony was crude.
My dear Ellie, there's a difference between crudeness and sophisticated candor.
Well, I've had just about all the sophistication I can stomach.
Lieutenant, this young lady got off at the elevator, and she started to run downstairs when she saw me.
That's all, Ed.
This is my maid, Hilda Mueller.
Why did you run, Miss Mueller?
Well, I'm supposed to use a servant's elevator, sir. I thought the officer was after me because I hadn't.
Where were you last night, Hilda?
Don't you remember, Mrs. Coleman? You gave me the evening off.
That's not true, Hilda.
But
So where did you go?
to a movie.
All night?
Well, after it was over, I walked around.
You walked around alone?
Yes, sir.
The truth, Hilda, this is a police investigation. Your master had a rendezvous with death last night.
Mr. Tony.
It was suicide.
Oh,
Hilda, what makes you think that Tony was murdered?
I don't know. I thought...
Hello? Oh, yes, it's for you, Lieutenant.
Thank you. Weston speaking. Is that all? I see. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, that'll be all, Miss Coleman. Thank you for your cooperation.
John,
Yeah.
I figured that was the coroner's report. You think it was suicide?
Well, Herb, I don't say they're wrong, but they've been wrong before. You know, it's an interesting group up there. You known those sisters long?
About 10 years. I was one of the executors of their father's estate. Lots of money involved. Whitney has control of Ellie's share until she's 25. Ellie's rather irresponsible, has no judgment about money.
Apparently not about men, either.
You know, Herb, it just bugs me when one of these pseudo-intellectuals takes a great quote and misquotes it as one of his own.
You know, John, sometimes I wonder how a philosopher like you ever got to be a cop.
Herb, what other job could I get where I would meet such interesting people? Oh, like take that maid Hilda, for instance. You notice how she called Whitney Mrs. Coleman when the husband was...
Mr. Tony? Yeah, I noticed.
Tell me, Herb, what was he like?
Oh, good-looking, athletic, started out to be a bricklayer, studied to be an architect at night school. Might have amounted to something if it hadn't been for his drinking and philandering.
Well, how much of that do you think was Whitney's fault?
Lieutenant, for your clinical information, Tony was quite the ladies' man before their marriage. Now, may I go home? I'm tired.
Well, sure. Herb! Wait a minute, there is one more thing. Listen, who was Tony involved with after their marriage? Now, you know, unless you tell me, it might have to be brought up at the inquest, and, well, there'll be reporters, and, you know...
If I ever said anything nice about you, I apologize. You're positively Machiavellian.
I know. Occupational disease. Well, was there anything more?
Well, he went out with Hilda once.
Uh-huh. And?
Ellie had quite a crush on him after he and Whitney were married. There were others. Now that I've told you, forget it. Whitney's been through enough. Don't be any harder on her.
Hope I won't have to.
Well, thank heavens that's all over.
Does the suicide verdict mean that the case is officially closed?
As far as the coroner is concerned. But the police can reopen it any time they have sufficient cause.
Oh, but of course they won't. I mean, well, poor Tony killed himself, and that's that. Shall we all go someplace for lunch?
I'd like to talk to Herb alone if you don't mind, Ellie.
What difference would it make if I did?
Well, I suppose I asked for that. But it is rather important, Herb.
Of course, but I think you'd better give serious thought to improving your relationship with Ellie. And I wouldn't wait too long.
Well, nice ride if you're in training for a race, but I thought you wanted to talk.
Herb. Herb. I'm being blackmailed.
By whom?
I don't know. I received an anonymous phone call this morning. A man said he wants $10,000 in cash, or he'll go to the police with proof that I murdered Tony.
What kind of proof could he have?
Absolutely none. Tony killed himself. He said he'd call me again in a few days and let me know where to meet him.
You can't possibly do that, Whitney. That'd be playing right into his hands. The only thing you can do is to contact the police.
Herb, I don't want any more notoriety. That may be hard for you to understand, but I've lived with it for 3 years. I think even the gossip columnists were getting a little bored with Tony's flings.
If you have nothing to hide, there won't be any notoriety.
Well, I'll let you know when he contacts me again.
Who was it?
Oh, Willie Yates, small-time con man, specializing in fleecing wealthy women.
Pretty brutal. You know who did it?
Oh, we will. He was standing him out there in the corner where the loose bricks are. Car drove in, flattened him against the wall, according to the lab boys. Whoever did it was a perfectionist, repeated the process a couple of times. It was probably a sports car.
How do you know?
Well, the height of the bumper at the point of impact.
I still don't understand what all this has to do with the Coleman case.
Well, maybe nothing at all, Herb. Have a look at that. Look at the number inside. Isn't that Whitney Coleman's unlisted telephone number? Well, it looks like it ran into something pretty solid, Herb. Like maybe a brick wall. Let's go upstairs.
I did not go out last night. My car was parked in the garage, and I left the keys in it, as I always do. Now, what is this all about, Herb?
Go on, Whitney. It's all right to answer the lieutenant's question.
Can you prove that you were home all night, Mrs. Coleman?
I can prove it. We went to bed about 10. I sleep in the same room with Whit.
Well, the conclave of good and evil gathers for the climax. Oh, I saw your car being autopsied in the garage with... Now, what devious plot are the minions of law and order seeking to uncover now?
Mr. Turner, what were you doing in the garage?
Oh, forgive me, Inspector. It's my usual means of entree. Opulent lobbies depress me.
Do you drive?
Well, I possess the knowledge, but unfortunately, the means to put it into practice has always eluded me.
Where were you last night?
Miles and I had a date. But we canceled it. He had a dinner appointment with a famous book publisher who wants to publish his book.
Care to give me the particulars?
Well, to tell you the truth, as the cliché goes, the appointment was postponed, but some friends of mine came over to my place instead, and we had a literary tete-a-tete.
And you didn't invite me?
Miles, I want a list of all the people who were there.
The occupants of my apartment house, Inspector, they all participated. You can ask them. Now, Ellie, darling.
Oh, I don't even want to talk to you. You're just as bad as everyone else. At least Tony didn't make people feel they were unnecessary.
I've had just about enough of this. Whatever happened last night, I think I have a right to know.
A man was deliberately run down by a car, Whitney, murdered.
Oh, what does that have to do with me?
I hope nothing. I wish you'd tell the lieutenant the story that you told me yesterday.
I thought you were my attorney. Whatever I told you was to be held in the strictest confidence.
I'm doing nothing to incriminate you. If you've got nothing to hide, let's prove it.
I'm going to have to ask you to come down to headquarters, Mrs. Coleman.
Whitney told Lieutenant Weston of the blackmail attempt. She said she'd never heard of Willie Yates. Yet the lab comparison tests proved that her car had killed him.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Coleman. I'm going to have to place you under arrest.
Now, why would I hit him with my own car and then park it in my garage and not even clean it off? You're treating me as if I were stupid.
On the contrary, I'm giving you credit for intelligence. It would be much less incriminating to shoot Willie Yates and dispose of the gun, except for the fact that your husband died from a bullet wound. As it stands, the two deaths cannot be connected on the basis of modus operandi.
They could not be connected at all if I hadn't told you about the blackmail.
It isn't quite that
I
simple.
don't understand it, Herb. You told me that if I had nothing to hide, this would help me.
It will, Whitney. The case is wholly circumstantial. But we can't disprove it unless we work with the police, not against them. Maybe you ought to trust me, Whitney.
Is she under arrest?
Temporarily.
Oh, ghastly. We were just planning to go away on a vacation. Oh, would you drive me back to the apartment, Herb? I'll pick up some things for her.
Sure, Ellie.
Ironic, isn't it? I mean, I always thought Witt was the lucky one.
Why?
Isn't it obvious? She's always had the brains and the beauty. All the boyfriends, too. Except we were both unlucky in that respect. They weren't any better than mine.
What's happened between you and Miles?
Oh, it's not important. We were going to be married, but I'm definitely through with him this time. Herb! Herb, guess what? Hilda's gone.
Gone?
Well, her room's cleaned out, and that's not all. Witt had the airplane tickets for our trip in here, and they're gone, too.
There's nothing to cry about.
You, work fast.
We picked her up at the bus terminal.
Did she have the airplane tickets with her?
No, she had her clothes, $80 in her purse. Swears she only took what was hers. That's all I've been able to get out of her so far. Hilda, listen, we're not going to hurt you. Oh, you probably had every right to leave. All I want to know is why.
I was afraid he would deport me
Deport you? What for?
because I knew Willie Yates.
See? Hilda, maybe you not only knew Yates, maybe you were his partner in a scheme to blackmail Mrs. Coleman. Is that it?
Blackmail? Oh, no, no.
How well did you know Yates?
Not very well. I was lonesome. He took me out a few times. I met him in a bar, a place called NK.
NK Club?
NK.
All right, Hilda, sit down.
The NK bar was run by a surly individual who didn't like answering questions. He did like money. $50 bought me the name of Willie Yates' girlfriend, who worked at a nearby burlesque house.
They won't let me smoke inside.
Getting back to Willie.
I wouldn't tell this to the cops. Only I can tell you're different. I don't know who killed Willie, and I don't care. He was a dope.
What was his deal with Hilda Mueller?
The usual fleece. Maid leads him to the rich dame, and he takes over from there. Only this time something better came along.
How do you mean?
All he told me is he was hired to do a job. He's supposed to get 10 grand.
What kind of job?
Search me. Wouldn't tell me who hired him or nothing. I thought it was another of his pipe dreams till he showed me his advance. $1,000. He was supposed to get the rest the night he got clobbered. Oh, my cue. How about coming by to see me sometime?
I already have. This is very important, Whitney. Who knew about your airplane tickets?
Just Ellie and myself. Ellie suggested the vacation, and I thought it might be a good opportunity to straighten things out between us. How could that be important?
I stopped by the airline's office on the way over here.
Those tickets were cashed in for a little over $1,000, the same amount that was paid Willie Yates.
I see what you mean. And whoever stole those tickets and cashed them in is probably the same one who hired Yates and then murdered him. How could someone cash in my airline tickets?
Well, it seems it's a common occurrence, unless it's a case of loss or theft. The airline records merely state that somebody cashed those tickets in on the 19th.
That was the day before I received that anonymous phone call.
Who beside Ellie knew that you kept those tickets in the strongbox?
Herb! Oh, what a nice surprise.
May I come in?
Of course. Oh, you remember Miles.
Sit down.
No, thanks.
Have a drink?
No, thank you.
He came back on his hands and knees to beg my forgiveness.
Oh, I thought you'd already forgiven me.
And I didn't say I had, yet. How's poor Whitney getting along?
Ellie, must you be such a hypocrite?
Because I'm concerned about my sister.
Are you really? Would you say that this is a display of tragic sorrow and concern, Mr. Lawyer? This is how she loves her beloved sister, like poison. And for overprotecting her and forgetting Tony, and for keeping her on a leash when she should be dancing on silver stars.
Why are you staring at me, Herb? You don't believe Miles. Whit and I had our differences, yes, but still there's a bond between us. We love each other.
Oh, touching, touching. And will you weep in her behalf on the witness stand?
Well, that might not be necessary.
You mean you can prove Whit didn't kill that blackmailer?
Let's start with the hypothesis that Tony did commit suicide, exactly as Whitney said.
What a wonderful idea for parlor game. May we ask questions?
You be quiet, Miles. What's Tony's suicide got to do with this murder thing?
It's the inspiration for this whole macabre plot. Somebody hired Willie Yates to phone Whitney, blackmailing her on the threat of producing proof that she'd murdered Tony. There never was any such proof.
Well, and now I've lost you. If there wasn't, how could Whit have been blackmailed in the first place?
She couldn't. The murderer knew that. Phone call was simply for the purpose of setting up a motive for her killing Yates. Naturally, she'd report the call to me. Later, it would incriminate her when they found her car and identified it as the murder vehicle. I think I know who that is. I'll get it.
Well, here you are, Herb. You know, you could have saved me a lot of legwork. I followed your trail from the bar to the theater and here.
I'm sorry, Lieutenant. I thought that was ground you wanted to cover anyway.
Yes.
Join the party, Inspector. Mr. Maris has been telling us the most fascinating story.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, go ahead, Herb. Maybe you can fascinate me, too.
I'll try. Now, Willie Yates enters the case. Poor Willie thought he had a good thing. A deal to get $1,000 cash in advance. Of course, Willie had no way of knowing that the $1,000 was buying his death warrant. He didn't find that out until he arrived at his rendezvous.
What did the murderer hope to gain by all this?
I think you know, Ellie. A chance to get control of the family fortune by getting rid of Whitney.
That's a terrible thing to say.
The truth is a terrible thing sometimes, Ellie. Do you want to finish the story? Ellie mentioned the tickets to you, didn't she? You needed $1,000 to pay off Willie Yates. So you stole the tickets and cashed them in.
I? How magnificently fantastic. Why wouldn't I have kept the 1,000 for myself? And what would I have to gain of trying to get rid of Whitney?
Ellie's share of the family fortune?
That's why you wanted to marry me, isn't it? Funny. And I really believed you loved me.
Miles, as far as you go.
Well, Herb, you fascinated me.